students, let's now understand human communication system, that is language. In my earlier video, I talked about animal communication system. I began with explaining to you what is communication system, then I explained some features of animal communication system in my earlier video. This video is continuation to that earlier video. Now, in your module first B part, you have this unit, that is human and animal communication system, and in bracket there is a sentence with special reference to Hockett's characteristics of language. So Hockett was a linguist and he gave certain features of language. Out of those features, we have to study 7 features. Now, you know that the title of paper you are studying is language and linguistics. Now, language you have understood, but what is this linguistics? Linguistic is a scientific study of natural language. For example, in zoology, you study animals. In botany, you study flora and fauna. In the same way, linguistics is a systematic study of natural language. So language is systematically studied in this branch of knowledge. And someone who does this study is called linguist. So linguistics can be theoretical and applied. याला मराठीत लिंग्विस्टिक्सला भाषा शास्त्र म्हणतात. आणि हे भाषाशास्त्र थिओरिटिकल, सैद्धांतिक किंवा उपयोजिक अशा 2 प्रकारचं असू शकतं. नाउ व्हॉट डज linguistics study? What is the purpose of linguistics? It studied any language with 3 questions. What is knowledge of language? That is, it is called competence. How is knowledge of language obtained? How it is gained? How do we learn language? That is the acquisition. And how is knowledge of language put to use? That is how the competence is used to do communication. That is the performance. So this is the areas or the aims of linguistics. The next is Hockett's design part. Now, as I told you that Charles Hockett was an American linguist and he was also an anthropologist, and he studied language and he gave design features of language. Features means characteristics of language by which the language is set. So every language shows these features. We have to study these design features. Hockett called these features of language as design features. And these features characterize human language and set it apart from animal communication system. So initially, Hockett believed that there are 13 design features, and out of these 13, first 9 features are common in primate communication. Primate means here the primate of human, that is chimpanzees or gorillas. So these animals have similar kind of features in their communication system. But the final 4 features, that is out of these 13, that is the displacement, productivity, cultural transmission, and duality, are only for human communication system, that is language. Later, Hockett added some more features, that is the prevarication, reflexiveness, learnability, and made it 16 features. We don't need to study these all features because in your syllabus there is a specific reference that only 7 characteristics of language given by Hockett we have to study. Now, what are these features? According to Hockett, the language has the following feature, that is the duality, productivity, arbitrariness, interchangeability, specialization, displacement, cultural transmission, language as a social institute. In Marathi, अर्जित भाषा, obtained language, reflexiveness of language, and in Marathi, भाषेची formality. So, these are some of the language features, 16 language features, out of which we have to study 7 features, characteristics. And they are, the first is arbitrariness. याला मराठीत आपण यादृच्छिकता असं म्हटलेलं आहे. It is very simple. It means that we don't know why a particular thing or a particular object is called in this way. For example, tree is called tree. Why? There is no logic or reason. So the example, more example is in English, uh, animal of 4 legs of certain qualities is called dog, but in Hindi it is called kutte, Hund in Germany, and cooker in Sanskrit. Now, if the animal, the same species of animal is there, why it is called in different languages and different names? There is no logic in it. People, one or the other point in the development of language, people began to call that animal dog. So we have been using that word to call that animal dog. There is no logic between the word and object or thing. This is the feature called arbitrariness. Now, duality of structure. Now, what is duality of structure? You know that the animals also use sound in their communication system, but the number of sounds and commands in animals is very limited. So it is said that gorillas have 20 sounds, while cow has less than 10 sounds. So since they have limited number of signals in for their use, definitely there is a limit to their message. But what happens with the human language? That human language is organized in dual structures, that it has 2 levels simultaneously, and they are the physical level at sounds and the abstract level of meanings. So out of these 24 consonants in English and 20 vowels in English, we can create infinite number of messages. We don't have limit. We can create thousands and lakhs of expression out of these sounds. But it never happens with animals because they have a limited range of signals or sounds. This is called duality of structure. Now, what is the productivity or creativity? It means that animal can produce a limited range of messages, but these messages also cannot be used with variety of meanings. For example, the sickle dance of bee or the wagtail dance of the bee cannot be used to have different messages. They have the same message, and since their evolution as bees, they have been using that signal to communicate the same message. So, on the contrary, we know that in the development of language, humans have evolved language to give the same word in 16th or 18th in old age may have different meaning. Right now, the same word may have a different meaning. We can use different the same signals for giving different messages. So this is because human language have a creativity, productivity. Our productivity is greater than animal communication system. Now the next is interchangeability. I mean, all communication, there are two factors that are involved. The one is the sender, the someone who sends the message, and someone who receives the message. So you see that you see that in communication system you have one side a sender and the other side the receiver. Sender means someone who sends the message and receiver means someone who receives the message. So the feature of language is that sender can become receiver and receiver can become sender. So this is interchangeability. Then the fifth feature is displacement. So this is a special feature of language, that is the human communication system, that it is called displacement. So we can talk about the past and we can also talk about the future. So this is called displacement. You will not find this in animal communication system, that with the limited number of signals, the cows and the wolves or the dogs are talking about after 20 or 25 years what will happen to their species. You won't find this kind of displacement in animal communication system. The next is cultural transmission. Obviously, language goes hand in hand with culture. So, through language, we transmit culture from one generation to another generation. So, that is why we find that there is a cultural transmission in language. The next seventh is discreteness. Discrete means that even though language is continuously produced, sentences and paragraphs like I'm talking now, it is the feature of language that we can uh, discrete sounds out of those continuous flow. So when I use word tip, you can discrete, you can separate t, e and p sound. So this is the feature of human communication system, that is language, that there is a discreteness in it. Thank you.